Hi, so this is going to be a video for another shaped card. I've done a few of these recently. I'm trying to just, give you some more ideas. And for this one, I'm going to use one of the basic shapes that's already in ScanNCut Canvas. So I'm going to click on the basic shape. I am going to scroll down and find the shape I want, which is this one here. I'm going to hold the Shift key down and rotate it. Now I'm going to resize it. So I'm going to come to the properties box here. I'm going to untick the maintain aspect ratio because I want to alter this in width and height myself. I'm going to make it 10.5 inches wide, and I'm going to make it 8 inches high. And now I can get rid of the properties box. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to line this blue dotted line up on one of the dotted lines on my mat, just to use as a guide. So I'm going to grab it and position it over one of those dotted lines on the mat. This is only for a guide for me, just for a minute. I can, adjust the size accordingly when I want to in a few minutes. So now I've got this blue dotted line on this line on my mat here. I'm going to double click to expose the nodes, and I'm going to drag this node in the bottom right hand corner down onto this line here. So I'm just going to bring it down in a straight line and put it on that line. Now I want this edge of my card to be 3 inches high. And because I've got this lined up with a line here, I can count 3 boxes. So I'm now going to select this top right hand node and bring this one down to here, which will make this section 3 inches high. Hopefully this will all become clear in a few minutes. So now I can bring it back into view a little bit more, and what I should have is the basis of a card that is 8 inches high at this end and 3 inches high at this end, and I want it to be 10.5 and it's 10.48. So I'm just going to click back on the properties box, click on this to make it 10.5, make sure this still stays at 8. And that's going to be the basis of the card. Now what I want this to fold in 2 places. So again, I'm going to bring this basic shape up and line it up. I'll just try and zoom in. I'm going to line it up here with this top corner. So I'm going to bring it up and put it on this ruler guide of the mat here. You can see that, and you can see that it's on the 8 inch mark. And just bring it down a little bit more. Okay, so I'm using the marks on the mat as a guideline. So I'm just going to zoom back out a bit. Now I want to put a fold line in at the 3.5 mark and the 7 inch mark. So again, I'm just going to try and just zoom in a little bit more. I'm going to come to the path icon and I'm going to come over to the 3.5 inch mark and come down, and I'm going to click just above this line like I showed you in the last video. So click, hold the Shift key down, which will bring this out in a straight line, and double click to anchor it. While it's selected, I'm going to use the properties box, make it a cut line, and then I'm going to change it to a dash line. Then I'm going to do exactly the same again on the 7-inch mark. So I'm going to choose the path icon, come over here to 7, click just above this card line, hold the shift key down and drag out a straight line while it's selected. Again, make it a cut line and then choose dash and close that down. Now I can zoom in, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to group the 2 lots of dash lines and the card, drag an imaginary box around everything, right click and group, and then I'm going to move using the directional arrows on my keyboard. I'm going to hold the shift key down and use the up arrow and just scoot this up, because I want to see if I've lined this first dash line up on the 3.5 mark. And by using the shift, position this on this outside line. So just by using the arrows, I've moved it up without moving it from this edge. And then I'm going to click the zoom icon and try and zoom in again. And as you can see, this dash line is on the 3.5 and this one is on the 7. So I know they're positioned as I want them. I'm going to zoom back to the mat, and then now I'm just going to put that on the mat. So when this card folds up, it will fold on the 3.5 mark and it will fold on the 7-inch mark. Now I'm going to make some matting layers. So I'm going to use the path icon again. I'm going to click once here, drag a line out. I'm not holding my shift key down this time because I want to be able to position this. I'm going to click, drag another line out, click, drag another line out, and then double click. Now I'm just going to zoom in just to have a look at that to see if it looks as if it will be fairly equal all the way around, and it does. So I'm going to select it, right click and hit duplicate, put that one there, and then I'm just going to grab this bottom line here and bring this up so it lines up with this. And I know this has moved now, so I can click it again twice and I can bring this node down. That looks about right. While this one's selected, I'm going to duplicate this, put this in position, do the same with this, bring this one up, double click and bring this node down. I want to try and get them so they're all the same width. So I'm going to select the first one and I can see it's 3.32 wide. I'm going to select this one isn't, so I'm going to make it 3.32. I've got maintain aspect ratio unticked, so I can just change the width on its own. So 3.32 and enter. So that's now the same width, and again with this one this needs to be 3.32. So again, just select this, make it 3.32 and enter. So they should all be the same width now, my matting layers. I'm just going to zoom in and then just see if they all line up on the bottom. Now this middle one here looks as though it's not got the same amount of space around here, so I am wondering now if I've got these dash lines, fold lines in the right place. So I'm just going to move these off. I'm going to position this one back, and I'm going to zoom in just on the top half of the card. And I can actually see that this dash line is a little bit off. So I'm going to select it and right click and ungroup it, and then I'm just going to select this dash line hopefully, and using the arrows on my keyboard I'm going to bring it over until it lines up with the 3.5 inch mark. and that looks as though it does, and the 7-inch looks as though it does. So I'm going to zoom back out, just move these out of the way. Going to select my card and my 2 dash lines again, right click and group, and then I'm going to bring these back in and see if they need to be a little bit narrower, I think now. 3.25 we'll try. That looks better, so I'm going to make them all 3.25. Which makes sense actually, because each one of these panels should be 3.5 inches wide. So they look about right. So now I'm going to save it. So up here, I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it Double Zig Zag and save it using this icon here. And then it's going to be ready to download. So I can click on the download button, and then it's going to be ready to cut. And that's how I made or make this double fold zigzag card. So I hope you found that helpful. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.